Hello, YouTube. This is BUB'S Comics coming at you with, with the No Faces comic chat. Tonight we are the No Longer Teens Titans. What do you think about that name, you guys?
That sounds good.
I'm a
Good.
little old, but sure. Now I'm happy.
I think it's terrible.
Well, I can always count on you to keep me grounded.
Yeah, I know. That double plural throws me off. It should be the Teen Titans or the Teens Titan. I don't know. I don't like it as usual. So.
Well, it's not a possessive Titan. We don't own the Titan, and we're teens. We're not.
Well, I gotta find something to complain about for the name. You know that.
Funny. Tonight we are sans Roger. He is in the final stages of moving. It's taken him quite a while. I think he shipped all his stuff CBCS. So it looks like it's gonna be about 7 months.
What's up, everybody?
Hey, what's going on?
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Deadpool. What's up?
It's Deadpool 2323, or should we say Cannonball Comics? Have you switched yet?
I have not announced what I'm doing yet. I'll be doing that later this week.
Oh, okay. No spoilers, I reckon.
No spoilers. Mainly because I haven't made up my freaking mind yet.
My vote is so for those of you who don't know, Deadpool 2323 has been toying with the idea. Well, first of all, if you don't know, go watch his videos, but not now. He's been toying with the idea of changing his YouTube handle away from Deadpool 2323 and into Cannonball Comics. I think for a couple of reasons, right? One of your favorite heroes, and also Deadpool 2323 was like an old MySpace account that you no longer frequent very often. Friendster? Was it Friendster? I think it's on Friendster.
It's actually my old Xbox Live handle.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, so Cannonball's my favorite. Is actually my favorite character ever, and Deadpool 2323 was. I just made that to start being able to comment on people's videos. I didn't, wasn't really thinking about doing videos, and then when I started doing videos, and I don't know, I like Cannonball Comics, so I don't know. I haven't made up my mind. I've gotten very mixed reactions. Some people say, no, we know you as, Deadpool 2323. Some people say, do what you want. Some people say, go with Cannonball because he's from Kentucky.
That's what I say. There he is.
I know Bub's all about it because he scoured all the literature on Earth to find a superhero from Kentucky, and the only thing that he come up with was Cannonball. So he's all about that. I know that.
And I think that he developed the Cannonball powers just so he could escape Kentucky and get at least as far as Tennessee.
That's awesome.
Well, Deadpool, I think you should do what you want. But I would mention it several times in videos for a while until you switch so that people are like, what happened to him? Where'd he go? And this isn't the right channel.
Yeah.
But yeah, I say go for it, man.
Yeah.
Sounds awesome.
Well, I'll see. I don't know, because I'm kind of partial to Deadpool 2323 as well.
Well, I know that Lindsay, she had a successful name change. How did you manage to do that? You went.
No, I didn't. No, it didn't work out. That's fine. I like my name. That's fine.
It was close though. I got a little confused. The first thing that threw me is I think one of the biggest things almost is not the name, but the avatar or whatever. Like when that changes, that throws me off big time.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of what I look for when I'm looking through videos to watch. I see that avatar and I'll click on it. So when the avatar changes, that throws me more than the name, I think.
Yeah, that's true.
So, but you stuck with my geeked out collection for Instagram, didn't you?
Yeah, I switched that up a little bit just to, kind of, I guess, start over type of thing. So
cool.
Yeah, that's what throws me off when I'm following people on YouTube and then I'm on Instagram and there's a name that's sort of similar, but it could be there's 100 names that are similar. I don't know if it's exactly the person on YouTube or not until I follow them and check it out, and then they're like, check out this on my YouTube channel, and then I'm sure.
That's cool. I'm always worried that every now and then I'll post like the same, because it's no faces chat, right? So, and I don't show myself in any videos, but then every now and then I'll post kind of a similar thing on Facebook that I've posted on YouTube or Instagram. And I'm always waiting for someone to say, "It's you." And I'm like, "No, it's not. I stole that guy's picture. He's a pretty cool guy. You should watch his channel."
What you don't know, Bub, is I'm secretly going behind your back and telling everybody who you are.
That's not very nice.
Just kidding.
You can find out who Bub is. He is out there somewhere, and I'm not going to disclose it, but he knows what I'm talking about.
Wow.
I'm out there.
He was busted on another. He ended up on somebody else's video.
Yeah, two of them.
Him. Yeah, right.
Yep, there were 2 videos done at a con that I was at, and you can see me kind of wandering in front of the camera, opening my mouth and staring awkwardly into the middle distance.
Hey, listen, guys, I can't stay on long because I'm actually having some family over. I just wanted to stop in since I was invited. Wish everybody a happy new year. Hope everybody stays safe. It was a great collecting year. I appreciate everybody watching my channel, and I appreciate Bub and DS and Roger having me on the show, and I just wanted to say thank you for that.
Thanks, man. Glad to have you, and we'll catch you again, and I'm sure you'll be a frequent guest there, Cannonball.
Yeah. Thanks for stopping in. Have a good New Year.
Hey, you too, guys. Happy New Year.
Take care.
Well, now we can do this. That's what it's over. It's over. We had let's see, we had Matt, didn't you? Or the boy who had 7. That way people can remember the handles. Didn't you have a another show you're doing tonight?
Yeah, man, I'm gonna be on with the Hunt, Tony Sanders, Jeff at Comic Con, all those guys, and it's about in 2 hours, so we've got time.
Wow. All right, let's see.
So, Bubs, you ever thinking about showing your face, man? Or are you gonna keep it no faces forever?
So it's funny, a lot of things that I do differently now because of my wife. Like, like I'm always like, all right. So here's a quick non-comic related example, although it is somewhat comic related. So I had a little extra money in the comic budget, and I had some Christmas money type stuff, gift cards and things. I was like, you know what? I could consolidate all this, and I could get a really nice grail. But then what ended up happening was I ended up with thread or metal thread showing through my back tire of my truck.
Oh.
I was like, oh man, this sucks. So I look at my wife and I'm like, if it weren't for you, I would just buy one used tire and throw on there, and it'd be like $20, and I'd be straight, man. I'd be riding. Well, I might not be riding straight, but I'd be back on the road, Instead, I'm like $200 in the hole, right, for at least 2. And she was mad I didn't get 4. So, so I was like, oh well.
Happy wife, happy life.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, and plus I want to look a little more responsible, try to be. I was like, all right. So anyway, the way I look at it is like now when it comes to, showing my face or whatever, I'm like, now I have another person I think about, and that's DS Comics, who I think would be totally disappointed in me.
That wouldn't be good. I'd be one of the only ones left.
There's not many. I think Silver Age Dave doesn't show his face intentionally.
Yeah, Roger
doesn't show his face intentionally, although we've seen it. DS and I have, and we've been to counseling over it. but I'm sure that bill won't come due anytime soon. So we might keep going.
You ever gonna show your face, or?
I don't think I have shown my face. Maybe, I don't know. It's a new year. You never know what's gonna happen.
Right.
Yeah, I was thinking about doing it just because I don't really do live shows except for this one, but I think I might start to do a few. But it's difficult because I can't really look at the screen good because it's sort of sideways, so it doesn't show my face, and I don't have a camera on the other side of the screen, so I can't like have the camera shooting away from the computer. It shoots directly in front of it.
Yeah.
So I can't look at the screen real good while I'm doing these.
That makes it tough.
Yeah.
I do enjoy the videos that have faces on them, of course, obviously. But I don't know. For me, I just kind of like, it's so weird because I'm such an animated person. Like, you know, usually when I'm at work or, you know, with my friends or whatever, I'm kind of an attention grabber. I don't know that I do it intentionally, but it just kind of happens, you know, so I'm kind of loud and, you know, outgoing. So it's really weird that I don't show my face because pretty much I do everywhere else I go, you know.
Well, that's funny because I like to show the channels more for my collection, and I kind of like just to kind of zone in on just the collection rather than my face, because everything I show is, you know, all my stuff, and I want it to be more focused on that than, you know, what I look like or anything like that. So, you know, that's not what I started the channel for. So
that's my moral high ground too.
Yeah.
I just do it for pure anonymity sketchiness. I don't have a Facebook. I'm not sociable. I don't really want to be the center of attention. I don't want to show my face. I don't want people to know who I am. So that's why I don't do it.
You've succeeded, my friend.
So far.
One time I sent DS a AOK and he didn't get it. And it got returned to me with spaghetti sauce on it and said, sorry, he's not working today. No, I don't even think he gives out like the real address.
I don't ever give out my real address.
P.O. Box, man. P.O. Box.
What's up? Oh, well, let's see. Well, we had some topics for today, and I know Lindsay's probably going to hop off here soon too. So she's got a big party that she pretended to invite me to at the last minute. I didn't see through that. But you know, just a little year in review. You know, what's been going on this year, and what changes have you made in your channel and your collections, and what are you proud of this year? Like some things you hope to do again next year, maybe. And then a little resolution that something you maybe don't want to do next year. So what you got, Lindsay?
Well, I think going into the year, I'm gonna try to keep, you know, the videos that I have on YouTube kind of simple. So I haven't really done like an intro or anything. Just kind of just show my collection, what I pick up. And actually, one of my resolutions is to kind of save money. So that might cut into my collecting. But I have some stuff here. I got a couple of books that I just got in, and I'll show you guys if you can see it. I don't know if you can see it too well, but I recently just got a couple.
Oh, yeah.
So I got these off of Instagram. It's really cool people that I've actually met through Instagram. A lot of great people. But one of my books that I was actually looking for was this Runaways #1. So I don't know if you see that. Yeah. And then also this Justice League, you can see that?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I just got those. Really cool. Just to cross that off my, I guess, lists of 2019. But probably I'm really kind of cutting back on spending, and that's kind of the resolution for next year. But yeah, keeping my channel simple, you know, showing off, maybe doing some reviews, comic book reviews. Just reviews in general, and showing off stuff that I haven't shown off yet, and yeah, just supporting the community. I like doing that. I like doing the, you know, support videos and all that. So that's kind of what I'm going for.
That's cool. That's a lot.
We'll see how it goes. You know, still a long year. We'll see.
Yeah, that's good though. I mean, it's nice to have a couple of things to carry over from the year before. That's kind of what I'm hoping. There were a lot of things I did this year I was happy about, and I hope to keep doing them. What about you, Matt? What you got?
Man, I got a lot of things coming up. So I'm running out of space in my house with 7 kids and all my comics. I've got no place to put them. And like you said before, you guys have seen this is my little niche right here, this little corner that I have. I really don't have a comic book room. So the wife's like, you know what? You got to get rid of stuff because we don't have any room for it. And you can't buy anything else until you sell stuff.
Right.
Oh, I've got this cool idea where I'm going to be doing some mystery boxes starting, in about 2 days. I'm going to post a YouTube video, start putting them on Instagram, eBay.
Nice.
And I'm going to be getting rid of about 10 to 15 grand worth of comic books through the mystery.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a lot, man. I've got one box sitting here that I just sat there through the other day and pulled stuff out and priced it out, and I'm just like, wow. Yeah, but there's some good stuff, some good stuff. And the reason is because I'm after some big books this next year. And so I really want an amazing
because your wife didn't get you enough of those big books, so
right?
Yeah, really. What are you complaining about?
No, it's I'm so great, man. That just blew me away. Like, I still look at her and I get all teary-eyed.
Yeah, no, that was cool.
But no, I mean, and you guys, I mean, I kind of wanted to get your opinion on this because I'm really interested in AF-15 and FF1, Fantastic Four 1.
Mm.
But those are some big, expensive books,
Yeah.
And I'm trying to put this list together that everyone on Instagram is doing, your 2019 list. And if I have those two on there, like, that's all I'm going to get, if I even get those.
Right.
Yeah.
So I've kind of been thinking, maybe I should put those on the back burner. And then that scares me because every year they just get more expensive and more expensive, So right now it's kind of between either, those big books or maybe like an Avengers 1, Brave and the Bold 28, just some smaller books that are still big books, but I can get more of those, So I'm still back and forth on that. Don't really know what to do, but we're going to start off by selling some books and then we'll see where we go, how many of those mystery boxes sell. I've got about $200 or 200 book mystery boxes worth to sell.
Wow.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So we'll see what happens, but that's kind of what I'm doing. I spent way too much money in 2018. So I've got to sell stuff, man. So that's what I'm starting with. I've already chained myself up and said I cannot buy anything until I start getting the money in from these books that I already have. And we got to do it.
Yeah, that's part of it. You got to slim down and trade off. It's really hard. I know DS had a successful purge of his collection. He's had a few successful purges of his collection. I don't know if it's to make room necessarily more than it is just to make room in the budget.
Yeah.
Is that what you got planned this year, DS?
Well, I was going to say, Matt, I think going after those big books is a perfect idea, and you should sell off all those mystery boxes and take that money and buy the best grail you can afford with those books that you're satisfied with. But when it comes to the AF-15, the FF1, some of those major heavy hitter books, I think there's a while to go before those really start popping up again. There's this misconception that those books are super hot and they keep going up, and they really have not moved in like 18 months. If you look at like a 4.0 AF-15 middle of 2017, it's the same price as a 4.0 is going for now. They've sort of plateaued. Some of the other keys are really low. I think the Hulk 181 has fallen off. That hasn't really moved at all lately. And the stock market's down. I think that affects some of these really bigger books. ETA Nick talks about that all the time. I don't know if that's the reason, but I noticed the prices of these books have sort of plateaued. So I think you've got a while, at least through the end of next year, to get these books at the prices they're at now. I don't think they've gone up so high. There's bound to be a correction in any type of investment market. But I have no problem spending money on books. I sell off whatever I can, and I take that money. And if I can buy one book with all of the funds, I do it. I don't try to get more or lesser books. I'd rather have one big book than 10 lesser books or 2 lesser books. So I think that's a good plan. If you raise enough money, go for it.
That is a good way to do it. I know that this is just my little theory on what you said, DS, as far as the AF-15s and the Hulk 181s and really all the Marvel books, because I think that the DC keys are still rising. And I think the reason that the Marvel keys have plateaued is that, and this is just a I haven't done enough research in this, but this is just me watching eBay 17 hours a day, right? So, but what I think is going on is that the passing of Stan Lee, it turned every Marvel book with a Stan Lee signature on it, took the top purchase price of all the books in that line. So like now an AF-15 might have went for 10 grand, or this level of book might have went for 10 grand. But now if it was signed by Stan Lee, all those were getting sold. So, and they were flying off the shelves. So everything else kind of backed off in price just a little bit, or at least stopped rising. And I think all of the Marvel keys that were Stan Lee signed were the ones getting bought up for the last few months. And now I think by the time summer hits, or at least even spring, I think we'll start seeing the books that have been gaining ground continue to gain ground again.
Yeah, you might be right. I mean, I've been watching like some of the big auctions, Comic Link and Comic Connect, and some of the big books in those auctions the last couple of months have gone for surprisingly little for what they are. I mean, there's books going for like half of really what they should. Some of these big books, it's amazing. So there's really been a pullback on spending on those big books. That'll probably go on for a little while longer until, I would say the end of next year. I think a good plan if you're trying to pick up books like those is sell off stuff that you're not in love with, put some funds together. And if you can put that together, early in 2019, buy some other books that you can flip and try to like just bump up the budget. And then, by fall of next year, start looking at what you really want to pick up. That's a huge book. And, for all of us, we pick up stuff along the way. So it's not like you're not going to pick up anything for the whole year. But yeah, paring down your collection is great to make space, keeps the wife happy, and it raises funds. So trifecta. Yeah, I pared my collection down. I only have a couple hundred books now. I come down here to look for stuff to sell, and it's hard to find something to sell now. So
wow. That happens. Hey, guys, I'm just going to take a minute to recognize the chat. Usually Roger does this, so I'd forgotten about it. Sorry, everybody. First in the chat, we have Lindsay. Everybody say hi to Lindsay. We had the Gray Man. We had Russ Man, Funko Collectibles, Gorilla Grodd, 05, and looks like that's mostly, let's see, I think Werewolf by Lunchtime. It's a couple of, looks like Gorilla Grodd might have had a couple of drinks already. Happy New Year, Gorilla Grodd. Discovery Bay Comics. Let's see, I think we're good. NYC, and I think that's called, and Comic Book Gallery just dropped in. So hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thanks for joining us. Roger's not here tonight. He is still getting graded. We're waiting for him to return, and we're pretty sure he's going to get a green and a one of those CGC green/purple labels. You ever see those? Where it's like it's qualified and restored, and they kind of wave it. Maybe we'll get a signature series on that. We don't know if he has any tattoos.
There's Metarog right there saying hi in the chat.
There he is. Hey, perfect. He must be standing outside on his new roof.
What's up, Roger?
Hey, what's up, Roger? Welcome. That's good stuff. So anyway, I didn't really have a whole lot to go into tonight, guys. I just wanted to kind of get together, invite everybody who we had as a guest this past year, and thank everybody for coming in. I'll just tell you my quick stuff for this year. I was glad to have kind of the work figured out the budget to get what I needed this year and to pick up the books that I've picked up. This was my first real full year of collecting. So I was really, as an adult, so I was really happy to get what I got. And next year I hope to keep going. I have 4 books in my sights that are over $100 each. And then I've got several that are under that. And that's kind of how I'm looking at my 2019 list. And the only thing I want to keep doing for next year is try and keep staying in my budget and keep being patient. That being said, I'm bidding on one of my top books for this coming year tonight. And I told everybody at work before I left today that I'm probably going to be pretty irritable for about a week. Because you're not going to win it. I'm not going to win it. Who said that?
Well, I said that's why you might be irritable if you don't win it.
Oh no, I'm gonna be irritable all the way through because I'll be on edge. I'll be wondering, am I going to get it? Is somebody going to outbid me? Then you got snipers on the hill always waiting. So
is that in tonight?
No, it starts tonight.
Oh, it starts tonight. Okay.
Yeah,
right.
Starts tonight. Yeah, I know.
Well, I say that if you're winning more than 1 or 2 out of 10 auctions you're bidding on, you're probably overpaying. That's basically the rule I say. If you feel like you're winning a lot of auctions all the time, you're probably overpaying for books. So when you get a feel for auctions, and then at some point you win something sort of accidentally, and you're like, oh crap, I really wished I didn't win that. When you get to that point, that usually means you're not spending too much on books anymore. You're not overpaying. Because I see a lot of people winning auctions left and right, and I feel like that's money they could use for other stuff that they're overpaying on some books that they can get later cheaper. So if you lose, it's all good.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this Cave Woman #1 that I picked up about a week ago, that's been on my want list all year, and I honestly didn't think I was going to get it because it just doesn't come up that often. And when it does, it's usually slabbed in a high grade and way out of my price range for this book. And so I didn't think I was going to get it, and I lost out on the auction twice by being cheap, in my opinion. And then this time I was like, that's it. I don't care. I'm going to get this book. It's the end of the year. I had a little bit of all those bad things you warned me against. I had all the feelings, I was like, I had the fever, and this is, and then, so I had a ridiculous max bid just to make sure I got it, and ended up getting it for cheaper than I had lost the other 2 auctions.
Yeah, so it worked out. It ended up. So if you think about it, if you would have won one of those earlier auctions, there would have been extra money you spent on that you didn't spend on this, and that money makes a difference over time. It adds up so that later on in the year or a couple months from now, you have significantly more money for what you're going after than you would have if you won a bunch of auctions. So I don't know. It all works out in the end if you keep trying.
I'm happy to have it. And I guess if by the same token, if I put tires on my truck, maybe I'll survive my next con trip. So whatever.
There you go. I think I'm gonna head out, guys. I gotta get going. So
all right, Lizzie. Thanks for stopping by.
Yeah, thank you guys. Have a good, Happy New Year, and I'm sure I'll be talking to you guys soon.
Yep, good talk. Happy New Year.
Hey, Bub.
It's nice that
So last time I was on with you guys, you were saying that you really didn't spend too much money on, picking up books, and you had your budget. What changed? Yeah. I've noticed you've been getting a lot more stuff this year.
Nothing changed. No? I got better. At it. I'm flipping books, and taking the difference on that and reinvesting in the comic budget, and then I just stopped going to the Peddler's Mall. That's probably the biggest thing I stopped doing. I was going to like the Peddler's Mall, like flea market type place, and picking up dollar books for, wait a minute, $1, right? So, so I was picking up a bunch of dollar books, and that was like $15 a day habit. And
that's a lot.
Heck yeah, it adds up, man. When you're waiting on that big bid. And then the other thing that happened is that I started tracking more the prices of books. And when you take time to track the prices of books, you spend less time buying books because you're learning more about what the price really should be, and then what you're comfortable with spending. And then you kind of find that number, that grade, that's your magic grade for that book. And then when you realize, okay, this is the grade, this is what I'm willing to pay for that grade, and then it's a very targeted strike. And by the time you've done all that and not spent $15 a day on books, then you've got plenty of money to buy that book. And so that's kind of where what I've been doing all year. I loved it. It's been a great year.
Yeah, what I did was I just nothing really changed for me except I stay within my budget. But what I've done is I raised the budget way up this year, and so it's much easier to stay within it. Sort of what I did.
That's cheating, man.
It's sort of cheating, but you know how I did it. I went through and I sold a slew of superhero keys. I sold a whole bunch of them at really big profits, and I put all that money into like pretty big Golden Age books. Nothing huge, but $1,000 books. So I was able to pick up some really big stuff that I wouldn't have been able to get in previous years because I sold. I took profits on a lot of superhero books I had, like Hulk 181. I pretty much almost doubled my money on that. I made thousands of dollars off Spider-Mans that I had in my collection in profit, and I just put that towards Golden Age books. And then some of the Golden Age books I bought, I was able to flip those for a lot more. I bought that Shock Suspense Story 6 on Black Friday for $600, and I just sold it for $13.50 last week. So, I had that for like a month, and I more than doubled my money on it. And yeah, it's a book I want, but I'm not going to turn down that kind of profit on a book that I can get again.
Dang.
So
I gotta learn how to do that, because every time I buy something, I don't want to let it go. I'm just like cling to it,
That's how I used to be, but I'll tell you, it's sort of liberating, and there's a different sort of rush that's very satisfying when you get rid of that first book and you're worried you're going to have seller's regret. It's really hard to part with, and you make a nice profit on it, and you get money, and the love for that book, you get over it really quick. It's like a bad breakup where you get over it super quick, and you're like, yeah, I can get something I really am in love with now. And you get something with the money. And, I sold that Hulk 181. I was really afraid to let that go. It was an 8.5. It was a nice copy. And I paid like $2,500 for it or something. And I let it go for $4,800. And I was really worried I was going to have seller's regret. But within an hour, I bought something new with the money, and I never looked back. So I didn't regret it at all. And, if I do regret it, I can sell what I have and get another Hulk 181. They're out there.
I picture a lot of sad, crying ex-girlfriends for you, DS, who just they're like, really? That's it? Like, he didn't even call me back? He didn't even try to get me back? That's it? They're all just hanging out in your yard like, well, surely he's going to notice me again. It's going to be rough.
Yeah, I think I maybe did that a couple times, but I think I got dumped more times than I did the dumping. So I feel all right in that area. I don't have too many regrets.
No, good. Good deal. Well, what about you, Matt? What's changed in your whole scheme other than what you plan to do? How are you going to facilitate that? You're just going to blind box them all out?
So I kind of went through all the comics that I had and said, these are the ones I can part with because I've got multiples or I've got them graded now. Like my wife, for instance, bought me the Century one CGC 9.8. So I'm like, yes, I've got that book. It's always going to be with me now. But I had 3 raw copies of it, near mint plus. So I pulled those out, and now I'm going to throw one of those in a box. I'm saying it's worth about $90, Mm-hmm. I'm going to throw in some other, just fillers in, and then I'm selling each of the boxes for $100 and then $5 shipping. And so people are going to get some really good stuff, and probably about $105 to $120 worth of books in a $100 box. But I got tons like that, man. Just tons of stuff, like Man Called Nova #1, and just, Spider-Man 252. Just tons of stuff, good stuff. And then,
go
ahead.
Well, I was just going to ask real quick. So, are you saying that you're not going to sell anything like individually, like on Instagram or eBay or anything? So, even your bigger books, you're going to sell them all through blind boxes?
Yeah, everything's going to go into the blind box, and it's going to help me get rid of a lot of the stuff that I can't sell, like just a book that came out last week that I didn't like, and I'm like, okay, I want to get rid of this, so I'll just be able to throw that in the box along with the keys, and that way I'm making more space, since that's one of my big issues. I need to get rid of books, and so people will get a huge key, they'll get a whole bunch of fillers, and at the end, for every box somebody buys, they'll be entered into a raffle. And I'm going to be raffling off some big boy books. I'm going to do ASM 300, Marvel Spotlight 5, New Mutants 87, Werewolf by Night 32, New Mutants 98. And they'll get to choose. Whoever wins the raffle will get to choose out of those books which one they want, So it's another incentive to buy a box.
So it doesn't sound like you're having too much trouble parting with keys, because the ones you just
really,
those are big books. I mean, those are major keys.
Yeah, they are, but I've got them all CGC'd now. And so I'm like, okay, now that I got a really nice grade, like ASM 300, I've got a 9.8 white pages. So I don't need the other 2 that I have,
Okay. Yeah, a couple people in the chat were mentioning doubles. And I don't know if this is advice, but I think holding on to doubles is just keeping money under the mattress. and you can get rid of the double, and it does not affect your collection because you still have the book. That's how I feel about it. And I had doubles before, and first thing I did was sold my doubles, and then it was like free money because I still had the book. I just had extra money. It's like money under the mattress that can be used to buy things you don't have. I'd rather have two separate books than two of the same and not have that other one that I want. So selling doubles is a great idea if you want to raise some money for a budget and buy some bigger books that you don't have that you really want. So I would recommend everybody consider it.
Yeah. You know what? I think I'm putting these in here as part of the raffle so people get interested in helping me out and buying these books. But once the person that wins the raffle picks their book, the other ones are going to be for sale by themselves, you know? So.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
You could do a key stacker auction. You guys ever do any of those stacker auctions that they have like on Facebook or any of those?
No, what's that?
So a stacker auction is like they'll say, okay, first up to bid is Cave Woman #1, and as soon as somebody bids at least $20 for this, I'm going to throw in deep dimension crime and punishment. So number 67. So that's what they do. So every time the overall bid for the stack of books goes over a certain dollar amount, then they don't tell you what book it's going to be, but then they just throw in another book. They're like, another key book coming. They might tell you the character. So they'll say, here's a key, ASM book. Once the bidding gets up to 300, we're going to throw that in. And then they just keep stacking them. And then the stacker auctions, usually once someone sees a key that they want in that, then they're bidding on the whole stack because you can sell off the rest. So those go pretty high. I mean, those get well into the thousands if there's enough good keys in there.
Wow.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good. I don't know, that almost, to me, I haven't participated in those. This is the first time I've heard it called that, so I don't even know really what's going on with those. But that's almost too many books. I don't want to pick up. I'm trying to keep my collection low and just pick up selected books here and there. And I don't, unless I buy a lot that I think I can flip and sell them off. That's not something I would do, but it sounds like a good idea. I can imagine those going up and up and up and not stopping for a while.
Yeah. And people are usually pretty happy because, I mean, even if there's one or two, even out of the 10 that they threw up there, you're going to keep those books, which you got them probably at a pretty good price. And then you're going to sell the rest and basically get those books that you wanted for free. So it's kind of a way of passing along, and then everyone kind of does their own little auctions, right? So the books go back out into the community and you get what you wanted. So it works out pretty good.
That's cool.
Yeah, Pope Cerebus I is throwing in here a question. What about people buying runs? I used to do that, and what that did to try to complete runs is it just sapped my budget on books that were just mainly filling in the run. They weren't keys, and I didn't even particularly like them. The only thing I liked about them is that it fit between number 12 and number 14. It had a number 13 on it, but really I didn't like the book. And what happened with me is I had so many runs I was working on, I never really get to complete any of them because I never have the money to get the big ones in the run. So I gave up that idea, and I just go after key books that I want instead of trying to complete full runs. I put together one run that I showed in the recent video of a Golden Age book, 17 issues. I picked up the full run, and I thought about it. I'm probably not going to go for runs of any more titles, really. I'm just going to pick up selected books I like because it's just too many books, and it's too much time and too much money to go after books that by themselves are not really anything special to me, unless you complete the whole run. But then you have thousands and thousands of books. So it's not for me anymore, but I used to do that. I couldn't hack it.
Yeah, I've got a run that I'm looking to complete, and I'm trying to make it my last big run. Like, I'm still going to collect miniseries or anything like under 50 books. As a small run, I don't mind collecting those. Like, say, Spider-Woman or something like, Volume 1, something that's small, or the Byrne run on She-Hulk Volume 2. Where he stepped in and then stepped back in and whatever. There's that's like 13 books. So more themed runs than straight volume runs, unless they're really low volumes. About the only one that scares me right now is I have a run started of Batman Adventures. So I'm worried I'm going to hit the Harley Quinn wall at some point and kind of have to go ahead and bite the bullet and buy that book. So other than that, I'm staying away from any new run collecting.
Yeah, and you know what I did when I decided at some point. At first, I was picking up the cheapest ones in the run first and getting them all filled out, and then going up to the more expensive ones later. That wasn't working because the more expensive ones were going up in price while I was working on the smaller ones. So then, for other runs later, I started to pick up the bigger ones first, and then fill out the smaller ones after that. I thought that would be easier, and it was easier. But what I found was after I picked up the big ones, I lost interest in picking up the rest of the run because I had the big keys. And then at one point I decided, why am I doing this? I don't want all these other books. I just want, you know, ASM 300, ASM 252, you know, ASM 238, like copper keys. So I just got rid of the other ones. And it was much more satisfying to just have the keys. It takes up less space. And then, you know, the average value of your book when you're flipping through your long box and every book is, you know, $100 book, a $300 book, a $400 book. It's much more satisfying than flipping through all these $1 fillers that you're really never going to pull out and read or display.
Yeah, I guess trades are good for that too, right? You could buy trades if you're going to read them, and then just keep the keys in comic form, and then buy, you know, omnibuses or trades for the rest.
Yeah. I got a question for you, DS.
All right, shoot.
So I just bought from Gills. I don't know if you guys saw, but he had an epic haul.
Yeah, everybody, we all saw him. He was on here a couple weeks ago.
He was on here a couple weeks ago, yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, so he had a Batman Adventures 12, 9.8 white pages, man, raw. And he gave me a great deal on it, and I got it. And now I'm wondering if I should hang on to it raw or if I should send it over to CGC and get that extra, you know, that extra money that'll come from a 9.8 if that's what I get back, you know. But I've never done that myself. I've never sent out, you know, CGC stuff myself. I've always done it through a con or something like that. So I just kind of wanted to pick your brain and see if you have any advice that way.
Well, I mean, first of all, the question I would ask first is, do you plan on keeping it, or are you going to sell it at some point to make a profit on it?
I bought that one to sell because I've already got a 9.8 white pages.
Then, yeah,
so this one's.
I would get it slabbed because if it is a 9.8, nobody's going to give you a 9.8 price when it's raw because it may not be a 9.8. If you get it slabbed, then it's a 9.8. It's instantly full value at a 9.8. Okay. And it's easy to sell. There's no question about it. You know, I know there's people that don't like slabs. They like raw books. But in the day and age of the internet where 99% of all books are sold and bought online, the slab gives confidence to the buyers that the book is what it's being advertised, that it's a legit mint book. So a slab 9.8 is very liquid. It's very easy to move at top price. So I would definitely slab that. And even though I've had books where I've had them raw and I'm like, I'm never going to sell this, I got them slabbed anyway. And then later on down the road, your tastes change, your collecting style changes. You may want to sell it. And then at that point, you'll be glad you got it slabbed because then you get full value out of it.
Okay.
That's my opinion on it. I would get it slabbed. And, you know, the price, you know, $30, the whole deal, $40, you know, ship it to them, get it graded and have it shipped back. It's cheap for a book like that you're going to be able to get $1,000 out of.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now,
that makes sense.
I'll just tell you right now, I've had my, I've been on edge for the last 26 days while CGC has my last shipment, which was also my first send off to them. So, but I'm excited. They just got graded and they're ready to be shipped, I guess. They're in quality control. So just waiting for that to finish out. But you know, it's really hard. Like while it's away from me, I'm like, I don't know. I feel like there's something missing. I'm nervous. I'm worried. Like, it's true. And I hate seeing, like, the other day, somebody got a slab. DS, you remember who it was? I think you were in on that same. I think it was on Instagram. And somebody had a slab and it got, like, clipped. I think it was an ASM 252. And it got clipped.
The one that, I think it was Gil, where he was complaining about that it definitely was not a 9.8. Yeah, a couple corners dented, but then the bottom right corner was completely bent over.
Yeah, in slabbing, in the process.
Yep.
And like really, like I saw that. I was already 2 weeks into sweating about my books. And I saw that and I was like, oh man, that's it. They're gonna cut all my books in half, or they're gonna send me back like, I don't know, a New Mutants 1 or some crap like that. And I was like, oh, pissed off. Worried, you know. So there's that to consider too. It is worrisome anytime you send your books away.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've sent in over the last few years hundreds and hundreds of books. Probably not 1,000, but probably, I don't know, 500 or 600 books. Probably I've sent to CGC by now, and it's very rare I've had an issue with any of the grades or the cases. Recently, I got some books back that had scratches on the cases. It looks like they all had the same scratch, like it happened when they were being loaded into the box to ship back to me. And I sent them back, and they gave me new holders in them at no cost. But you know, there's so many books being graded that the people who are satisfied with 99 out of 100 books, you don't hear anything from. But that one person that gets a book like that one Gills had, which clearly is an issue, it was not a 9.8 the way it was. You're going to hear about that, and it's going to get around, and it's sort of like a vocal minority of bad grades or problems with the books. But you know, I haven't had any problems with CGC, and that's why they bring the highest price. There's a lot of confidence in them, and yeah, I mean, I don't have any problem with CGC. I've sent plenty of books off to them. I've never really had a problem.
Nice.
While we're picking DS's brains on slabs, which I hope he has some left after that last one, we got. So I'm thinking of taking my Hulk 181. Now it's missing the MVS, so I'm thinking of sending it in for a green label with CGC, and I know it's never been pressed or cleaned, so. I don't know. I mean, I think it could be a green 3.5 or a 4.
Well, that's a CBCS, right?
Yeah, it's CBCS.
You can look up their grader's notes on their website. You can type in that certification number, and they'll tell you what the grading notes are. And that will tell you if it will go up in grade with a press or not. Because it'll say non-color breaking bends or spine roll. If it has stuff like that, it can be pressed. But if it says, you know, cover detached or, you know, 5-inch tear on the last page or something,
yeah,
it's not going to go up if it has certain things like that. But you can look at the grader's notes for free. You can just go on CBCS website and scroll to the bottom of the home page, and it says search notes, and you type in the cert number there. It'll bring up the notes.
I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go get the notes on CBCS, and then I'm going to email them to you and ETA Nick, who I think are two of the best graders that I know, and see what you guys think.
Well, he's probably expert level grader. I'm slightly above average. I'm nowhere near his level. So that's a good idea. In my experience, I get a lot of books pressed in the last couple of years. The really low grades don't seem to go up much with a press, like 2s, 2.5s, 3s. I've stopped getting those pressed for the most part unless they have a really bad spine roll. The books that seem to benefit the most are the ones that are like in the 6 to 7 range, because there's a lot of waviness, a lot of bends, a lot of non-color breaking creases. It presses out, it makes it nice and flat, and you can get really good grade bumps from anything that's a 6 to a 7, 7.5, you know, and up. But once you start hitting like a VF minus grade, you can really benefit from presses because they don't have a lot of defects to begin with, and a lot of the defects can be pressed out. But that's really low grades, I'll take a look at the notes if you want to email them to me. But on 2.5, most likely it will not improve with a press. But you never know what the defects are. It depends.
Well, thanks for busting my bubble again.
Well, you still get a nice new case. And, you know, sometimes I get books pressed that it's not going to increase the grade, but it'll increase the presentability, make that better.
Well, what do you think about the green labels? Like in general, do you think they look good? Like I'm worried that it would be my only green label to date. So, well, but if I like it, I got plenty of other books that'll qualify for it.
It's not really the color of the label that bothers me. I mean, you have a Hulk that's missing the MVS, it's a green label. I mean, it's not going to, yeah, I mean, that's what it is, man. I mean, so what? If I was out there to buy a Hulk 181 and I only had a few $100, it would be a green label one in a low grade, even though that's probably $1,000, but whatever. Yeah, I mean, if you have the money, if money's no object, I wouldn't buy green labels. But if I had a book that was qualified that I wanted to keep that I loved, yeah, I wouldn't care. I have a green label. I got a book with a signature on it, and I sent it to CGC instead of CBCS. I knew it was going to get a green label, but I wanted a CGC case. So I've got one with a green label.
Oh, that's cool.
Doesn't bother me.
Well, that's another one.
I'll break it out if you want to see it. You guys talk, yeah. I'll grab it.
All right, Matt, you and I got to talk. Let's see.
What'd you send in your most recent CGC submission?
Oh, I can't divulge that.
Not yet?
Not yet. I'll tell you the book that I wish I hadn't sent in.
Which one?
I'll tell you 2 books. I'll tell you 2 books that I sent in. One that I'll probably sell, which is an ASM 252 newsstand, and I'm pretty sure I bought it at a con. I had really worked the guy down at the con. I bought it for like less than $50.
Nice.
Then, which I had to bundle other things. So I'm assuming I paid full price for everything else, and I got that one low, right? And then the way I looked at it was I kept it up on the wall, and I just never fell in love with the book. I wanted to love it, but I really hated that it was kind of a cover swipe of, AF 15. And it never, and I hated the little 80s looking or 90s looking dude that Spider-Man's carrying. I thought he looked goofy as hell. I just couldn't fall in love with that book. so I know I'm really helping my future sale here,
Right.
But it's a very high grade. I would think it's probably a 9.8 contender, probably a 9.6 to 9.8. So I said, well, I'll send it in. I'll get it graded, and maybe when I get it back in the slab, I'll fall in love with it. And if I don't, I'll sell it.
Right.
So that's one. Another one that I've got, and I don't know, I should find out the grades later this week. So another one that I had that I wish I hadn't sent is the only book I regret sending. Well, maybe 2. 2 other books. It was real pressured because, my wife had bought me the membership for Christmas. So that was her big gift to me, which is great. All us with our comic habit supporting wives really came through for us, right? And Comic Geek McD had a big come through for him, so it's pretty cool stuff. So my wife, her big comic purchase for me, and she got me a couple of gift certificates to buy comics too. But she got me the membership, the premium membership. So that comes with roughly 8 modern submissions for free. Along with the membership. So that's what I did. I sent in 8 books. So that one I sent in, hopefully I'll get back and sell or love. And then the other one that I sent that I wish I hadn't sent was Legends of the Dark Hawk #1. I don't know what the hell I was thinking. I mean, I love that book, and it's one of the first books that I bought, and I was like, oh, this is cool. I'm so happy to have this book, and I remembered it from when I was a kid, and I thought it was great, and I bought it, and I ended up with 2 of them because I got one in an AOK later, and I sent the better one off to get graded, and I don't know why. I guess I'll take it to work and hang it as a slab that I hang at work because I bring in some of my lower, valued comics in there.
Yeah.
So I think I might take it to work and hang it at work.
It's your slab.
I think the only other thing that I maybe shouldn't have sent in was a Cave Woman comic, and not this one, which I probably will send in soon. But it was a Cave Woman comic that was, it's a nude cover, so it's got a. So Cave Woman is fully nude on the cover, and really, where am I going to display that? Like where is that going to live in my collection? And
the black curtains.
Yeah. So and I almost didn't send it, but it's such a beautiful cover, and I really liked it, and I was like, I'm sending one. So I went ahead and sent it. So, but I probably shouldn't have.
Cool, man. Cool.
I don't even think I can show that off in a hall without getting, YouTube taking my video down.
Yeah, you'd have to put little stickers over the crucial areas there to show it.
They're all crucial on that one. It's a fine book.
Well, you can put it in. You share that comic room with the wife, right? Doesn't she have half of it and you have the other half?
Yeah, it's her workout room.
Yeah, you can't hang it in there either. So.
Yeah. I do hang up some of those sometimes on certain weekends, where it's like just us or something. I'll hang one up or 2. So, but yeah, that'll be a book I take out every now and then.
Oh my goodness.
Let's see that book, DS. You got it up?
All right, yeah, it's right here. This is the only green label I have in my collection, and I don't mind it at all. I knew it was going to be a green label, but I wanted a CGC case. So I got it pressed and got it graded. It's a 9.8. with white pages, which is a new book. It's not surprising. It's from 2012. It's not old. Just a cool Spawn 1 homage cover. This is a comic book legal defense fund book they gave away. And Chris Giarrusso, who sort of has like a Scotty Young style.
Yeah.
He hasn't done a lot, but I mean, he's done some stuff. He's a known artist in comics, I guess. He signed it. And so, yeah, I mean, I knew it was going to be a green label, but I don't care. I mean, it's green because it's his signature, and it's a 9.8, but I mean, that's what it is. Yeah. So, you know, and it wasn't something I ever planned on selling. I just liked it and got it for myself. So, yeah, that's the only green label. I don't mind green labels. I don't have any other ones in my collection. I don't go out to buy them, but it's not like the purple labels. The purple labels I generally stay away from for the most part, but I've got one of those also. You know, it just depends on what you require for your collection, what your minimum requirements are, what you want for books, and then you know, the label is what it is. It's not like, it's sort of like if you're sick and you don't go to the doctor, you're still sick. Whether the doctor, you go there and he tells you you're sick or not, you're still sick. So I mean, that Hulk 181 is missing the Marvel value stamp, no matter what. So whether you have a green label CGC or not, it's the same book. So I wouldn't worry about it. That's just me.
Yeah, are you saying my books are sick? Like,
no, that one's got a major scar.
It happens, you know.
No, look, that Hulk 181, I mean, we're in the midst of a huge run-up on that book, and it's now 40 years old. But 20 years from now, that book's going to be even bigger. And at a certain point, I don't think people are going to care too much if there's a coupon cut out of the back. Like, that doesn't even affect the story. It's not the biggest deal in the world, you know what I mean? Yeah. And it's not like it was a coupon or some kid cut something out. I mean, it's a Marvel value stamp. There's tons of those that were cut out. It's almost expected that, you know, every other Hulk 181 is going to be missing that. So it's almost I think it's going to become much more acceptable that that's missing, because it's missing so often in that book because of what it is. It's not your standard piece missing or coupon cut or piece missing out of the back cover type situation. It's totally different than that.
Well, I'm hoping that is the case. I guess maybe I may not get it pressed and because pressing and cleaning, unless you send in like 10 or 15, maybe even books to get the quick press, man, it's expensive.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's about the same amount as grading. It's basically doubles your cost. If the pressing and cleaning costs about the same amount as the grading.
Yeah, I don't think I want to do all that. So maybe I'll just, you know, run an iron over it or something before I send it in.
Yeah, and actually the grading tier is going to be more expensive too, because from 75 up is a cheaper modern tier, and that's 74, I think. So you're just missed the cut, so that's going to be even a pricier tier. But
DS, CGC's pressing and cleaning, or do you go through someone else?
I used to use somebody else, but any professional service, the turnaround times are not super quick, and you can use, there's people on Instagram or Facebook or YouTube that offer to do it. I'd rather go with a professional service, so I send it to CGC, and they do it professionally under the CCS banner, right. But it's all under the same roof. So also there's less shipping. I just ship it to the one building, essentially, the one facility, and they press it and clean it, and then they move it over to the grading department. I do that, but yeah, like Bub said, it's expensive, so I don't send in less than 15 books anymore because I want to get the quick press. For books I want to press, I don't do one at a time. I just wait till I have at least 15, and then I get the quick press. And on modern books, it's only $8 a book, which is really cheap. No matter who you go to, you're not going to get $8 a book.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And the dry cleaning is part of it. So I've been happy with the results. And I don't know if they give you a little favoritism if you use their pressing service, or if it just doesn't. Yeah, I don't know. I get way more 9.8s on moderns from them since I started doing that. So I'm sure the pressing helps, but I'm sure it doesn't hurt that I'm paying them to do the pressing. You know what I mean? It behooves them to make the customers happy. I'm not saying they're fudging grades, but Gills might disagree, and some other people. I don't know. I mean, ones I'm going to flip, I take good pictures. It's a 9.8. Decide for yourself if you want to buy it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still just a third party. I mean, it's still just a third person or company saying this is the grade. You can say what you think it is, they say what they think it is, and the buyer always has the last say to say what they think it is. Either they can agree with CGC or they can disagree. But either way, they're probably going to pay the price based on what the grade is, what the number grade is, because that's what most people are going to accept.
Yeah, and then books I sell, I make sure I put plenty of pictures. of all the, even for graded 9.8s, I'll take good pictures of the corners and the back and the spine, and people can decide for themselves. I've had two books which were iffy. One got returned to me because it had a black cover. It only had one defect on it, but it was a dented corner, but it took off some of the black, so it was noticeable because it was an all black cover. And they sent it back and wanted a refund, and I was like, yeah, that's fine, go ahead. And the other one had really bad tanning across the top cover. It was a Thor 337, and it had off-white pages, but it was a 9.8, but the top was clearly tanned. And I put good pictures on, and the person paid up for it, and I got full value for it, and they gave me a positive review, and they were very happy with it. So, you know, I wouldn't have bought it for my collection because it was, you know, that's a white cover, and the top was brown. So
yeah. You have any purple labels?
I got one. I'll grab it.
All right. Well, he's there.
All right.
Well, he's up.
I'm scared of those, man. When I first got back into collecting in 2015, there's a LCS here that I just went into, started being friends with the guy, and after about a year, I realized he was swindling me the whole time, man.
Yeah, so there's my purple label.
Oh, boy, how is he swindling you?
So he started telling me, like, hey, man, I've got this grade. And at that point, I had no ideas about grades, so I was just 100% believing him. And then I sent a couple out through the local con to CGC, and they came back way lower, man. And then I started, you know, questioning him about it, asking around, and everyone in town's like, okay, guy, you need to stay away from that LCS, because not only does he fudge the grades and completely lies about them, but he also restores his books. And so a couple other people that I've met up with in town have showed me their purple labels that came back, like 4 or 5 or 6 different labels they got back purple. And so, man, I bought probably about 20 huge keys from this guy, and they're all still raw because I'm scared of those purple labels, man.
Wow, I bet. That would suck. But if you know, DS says your book is sick, and it doesn't matter. If it gets diagnosed with the sickness, it's still sick.
Yeah.
Look, I've had raw books that I thought maybe had some trimming. Color touch is pretty easy to spot. I'm pretty confident I can find color touch. Trimming, I'm super paranoid about it, and I have books that looks like there's trimming. And instead of being paranoid every single day about it, I'll just send it in, and you know, if it comes back purple, at least I know. And if it comes back blue, it's a big relief. But you know, if you have a raw book that's old and you haven't done a restoration check, or you're not comfortable that you can detect certain types of restoration, there's that question you never know. And that's why it's easier to sell slabs online, because people who are buying high-end books don't want to take the risk if there's resto.
Yeah.
Well, let's look at that book you got there, DS. Oh yeah, your Chamber of Chills.
Yeah, this is the only one I have that's restored. The restoration is the tear seals on the cover, and the cover is reinforced. So I think probably what that means is on the inside, the cover was probably starting to come loose from the staples, and somebody reinforced it. It looks like with some glue or something to keep the cover from coming detached. I think that's what the cover reinforced is. As far as the tear seals, it's really hard for me to see where the tear seals are on here. There's a couple small tears by the staples, and those might have glue on them, and that qualifies as a tear seal, because I don't see any other tears on this book. So I'm not sure, but in any event, that's the restoration on that. But I'm happy with this, because to get an unrestored copy anywhere near this quality is going to cost me probably $5,000, and I only paid $700 for this.
So how do you feel about a 1.5 purple label, like compared to like a 6.0 purple label, where you're making that distinction where you're like, well, I guess I'll go ahead and get this because I'm not going to get that high a grade unless it's purple.
Well, there's a couple considerations, and this is just me personally. There's some type of consideration that I never want. I want my books, especially the older ones, but even for newer ones, I want them to look the way they are supposed to look, to have a genuine appearance as to what they are. Color touch destroys that for me. I won't buy a book with color touch. I detest color touch. You know, even if it's minor, it's affecting the look of the book. It's no longer genuine looking. It's been touched up. The other thing is trimming. That's removing pieces of the book. books have tattered edges. The edges get worn. There's little tears. I don't have a problem with that. I'll take a lower grade book that has some of that wear because, it's got character. It's got some defects. It's old, whatever. But if it's been trimmed, it's artificially straight, artificially sharp. Pieces have actually been removed from the book and a lot of the pages sometimes when they trim the whole edge like that. I don't mess with color touch or trimming. On a book like this, for this price and this quality of book, I feel like this probably didn't need to be restored. The restoration doesn't affect how it looks, or really probably doesn't even do much to it. The cover's reinforced, but I'm not putting any more stress on the cover, so it's not really having any effect. But yeah, it's not ideal. But for huge grails, sometimes you got to get a restored book because they're expensive. My ultimate grail will be like Suspense Comics 3 from like 1944. A blue label of that in like a 5.0 would probably be like 50 grand. A 1.0 would probably be 12 to 15 grand, probably maybe 10 grand for a 1.0. If I saw one of those that was like a 1.0 restored, if it had tear seals and the cover reinforced, yeah, I would try to get that. If it had a 1.0 with color touch, I wouldn't touch it, even though it's a grail for me.
Yeah.
Wow. It's hard. I hope you're not too hard on me when I get some purples and some greens, because maybe I'm thinking maybe if I spread it around my whole collection, it'll look real colorful, and maybe I'll start to like how pretty all the differences are. But I know that there's some. I'm thinking I was really debating on the signed books that I have, whether to send them into CBCS or CGC, or the one that shall not be named. As an instant thumbs down if you put those 3 letters together, Procter Gamble Express or whatever, whatever it is. Yeah. But if you, as far as those book goes, they do offer the service to have signature verification, or authentication or whatever, in heavy quotes, right? Because I think that whole service is really kind of hokey. Even when CBCS does it, it's just kind of it's not 100%. So if it's not a yellow label, then I just assume probably get a green label and get the nicest holder I can get. But plus, all those signatures were witnessed by me, so I already know that they're real. There's no question of it to me.
Yeah, I'm not big on signatures, so I'm not one to really mention or talk about those. But if you got a book that you brought to a con, you met Neil Adams and he signed a book for you, and you get it slabbed by CGC with a green label, so what? You're the one that got, it's a signature. You got a nice new case. I don't see why that would bother somebody. If you're reselling something, I would buy a green label CGC, because a lot of people do what you're considering doing, and you can tell by looking at a lot of signatures if it's authentic. 99% of the signatures out there are authentic, and some of them are very distinctive. It's easy to tell, I think. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not big on signatures anyway.
And I'm not trying to pass a Ditko or a Stan Lee either. These are, I don't think anyone would bother to forge Greg Land's signature.
Yeah, right.
I think I'm safe, I'm pretty sure it was Greg Land. I didn't get his ID. He was sitting at a table. It said Greg Land above him. So it was probably him,
I'll tell you how much I don't get the signatures. Why people like them, but I'm not into them, and I have no concept of having a signature. It doesn't do anything for me. I'm so out of touch on signatures that I've asked numerous people, I'm like, why don't you just have them sign the back of the book or have them sign it inside? And they're like, well, then I can't see the signature. I'm like, yeah, but then it's not marring the front cover. And so clearly I am not the person to ask about signatures. It's almost like color touch to me. I don't want anybody putting a marker on my book.
Yeah. Well, I understand that. And really for the stuff that you've got, a lot of those books are such high value, and those artists are either uncredited or dead. So,
yeah,
I can see how once your collection starts moving towards those types of books, how signatures are completely unnecessary, irrelevant, or even distracting from the art. So for me, some of the art is so good that I want a nice signature on it. And really, I can't think of too many signatures I'm out to get from this at this point. And it's also a nice way to distinguish your book. You talk all the time about how there's so many of this book. You're like, this book isn't rare. You can get another one. Don't worry, sell it and move on. And I think when you get a signature on the book, and you have an experience attached to that, you went to a con, you talked to the person. I would agree, buying pre-signed books, I don't really have anything for that. But, if I went and got the book signed, it's a deeper level of attachment to that book. Yeah. And the signature is more of a representation of that memory than anything else. And so that's when I start getting attached to the book. And it does distinguish that book from the other, 200,000 books that they printed. So, that's kind of where I'm at on that.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think the only two signatures that I would covet or would really dig, or if it was on a book, it would add value to me, would be Frank Frazetta, because there's hardly any out there. He's done some really good pre-code stuff, horror books. His paintings outside of comic book world are awesome, and he's just a top-notch artist from back in the day. And I would love to have something with his signature on it. And there's not many out there also, so it's a tough thing to find. And the other one probably would be, somebody mentioned in the chat, would be Kirby. It'd be cool to have a Kirby signature because he's so influential. And I don't think there's a ton of Kirby signatures out there. And I feel like most of the Kirby signatures you find are people just buy raw books and are flipping through it and find that he signed on the inside somewhere back in the 70s. Somebody signed it at a con and never got graded, passed around, and ended up in a box at an LCS somewhere. Lower books, non-keys, that people are just opening up and there's a Kirby signature on it or something. That's really cool.
That does happen quite a bit, it seems.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people had him sign like on the bottom of a splash page or something. There's a lot of those out there, and people are discovering them all the time. And there's plenty out there that people don't even know they're there until they find them. Stan Lee, though, I mean, yeah, he's the most influential person in comics ever. He's also signed more things than anyone in history ever.
Yeah.
He signs more things than all the presidents together probably have ever signed. It's insane. So it's not hard to get a Stan Lee signature, although it's exclusive. I mean, it's really cool to have something that he signed, but it's not rare. I mean, if you're looking for a Stan Lee signature, I don't think you need to spend a lot of money to get one.
Yeah. No, I agree. And not anymore. Maybe 2 months ago you did, but now it's really cooled off quite a bit. And the prices are starting to come back down to earth, about where they were before.
Yeah, I really felt bad for a lot of people who were out there buying what are those Marvel where they reprint the issue, reprint key issues?
Oh yeah, milestones.
The milestones,
or True Believers or stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, the True Believers I'm talking about. There was a whole slew of them with Stan Lee signatures that were selling like $500-600.
No way.
On eBay right after he passed. And I feel like there's a lot of people who were buying them for presents or buying them for their kids or inexperienced collectors putting out a lot of money for that. And I feel bad because they could get something with a Stan Lee signature that's more significant, cheaper, but people got caught up in the hype. And I was seeing True Believers with yellow labels selling for crazy money.
Yeah, I saw some of that too, and I was shaking my head. Well, first, I know that the last time I was at a con and met Stan Lee, it was like $200 for a signature. So, at that point, plus the cost of admission, whatever else you brought, even if it's just a $1 book, literally a True Believers, right, $1 book.
Yeah.
And you're walking in there, so at least the person spent $250 on that book. So I mean, the book before it was signed, but I mean, really, Stan Lee signature for me adds $200 to any book, even if it's a $1 book. So now that book's worth $201. So even though I still wouldn't give $201 for a Stan Lee signed True Believers, I guess somebody out there would, and they did. They gave more than that.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm sure there's some people that are really happy to own those, and that's great. But like I said, I'm not the right one to talk about signatures, so what do I know? You know what I mean? Maybe they are worth that. It's really cool to have a Stan Lee signature, so.
Yeah, you're right. I'm tired of listening to your crap DS. Come on, Matt. What do you say?
Yeah, don't ask me about signatures anymore. I'm done. I don't have any frame of reference on that.
Well, I was really just asking about green labels, and you had a perfect example, a signature on a green label. That's perfect because I think that's probably the way I'm going to go. I already have the membership, so I'm just going to push on through and get some CGC green labels for those. And because they're just for my personal collection, and all of those I'm never going to sell, so I'm just going to keep them.
Yeah,
that's the way to go. Well, hey, guys, yeah,
go for it.
Go ahead.
So CGC just introduced you can take a book from another company and have them grade it, send it in slab and all. Have you tried that at all, DS or BUB'S?
No, the crossover service.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they will regrade a book that's already graded by CBCS or PGX, and if their grade is lower, they will only charge you $10 or give you money back or something. So I think it's been successful. I think a lot of people are using it. I haven't used it because I don't have any other slabs left in my collection. They're all gone at this point. The only thing I have left is CGC. And the stuff I'm buying now is Golden Age books. If I get a Golden Age book that's a CBCS, I'll just keep it in the CBCS. I may get it regraded at some point, but I'm not worried about the crossover service, so I haven't used it.
Okay.
I don't even know that I would. If I had a CBCS, I'm trying to think if I even. What I usually do is I just crack them open myself and send a bunch of raw books in, so they don't even know it was a CBCS book.
I've got that X-Men 1 that's CBCS, and I've been thinking I'd really like to have that CGC'd, you know.
Yeah, CGC's got a much better holder. People come on CGC about their grading, but I have sent numerous CBCS books into CGC. After I've removed them from the CBCS, I'll send them in with a bunch of other books raw at that point. And almost all of them have come back like a half point lower from CGC. And a lot of them have come back the same grade. So CGC and CBCS, I think their grading is about the same standards. I like CGC's cases better, and they bring more money in market if you're selling.
Cool.
Yeah, the CGC cases that right now they're the best case, and again I would even take honestly I would take a PGX case if it weren't for the grading issues over a CBCS case. I can't stand their cases. I think they're cheap, crappy cases.
The CBCS ones.
Yeah, I hate them. When you hold them in your hand, you can hear them like crackling.
Yeah, I know. They feel flimsy to me. And
yeah.
They've had several different generations of cases, just like all these companies. The CGC had a time where they went through some cases that were super flimsy, and I have a couple of those, and I need to get those in new cases because I can't stand them. But CBCS, I've had cases of theirs from each of their generations, and they don't seem to get any better. Like the label changes, but the case still seems flimsy. So yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah. I'm waiting for when they expand their crossover service to include the signature series. Because right now I don't think that they're honoring signatures witnessed by CBCS. So,
well, I think they're not going to do that probably anytime soon because that affects their business at cons. They make money by having witnesses at cons to witness a signature. So definitely a money-making thing, and they would lose money if they just start certifying them and not witnessing them. They'll lose a lot of money. But the reason they started doing that is because there's no question that this signature is legit because it was witnessed, and they don't want to mess around with having to certify it and have something verified. It comes back knotted or whatever. Sometimes there'd be a new artist signing something. There's no examples of his signatures out there. I don't think they initially just wanted to take a chance. They just will witness the signature, and then we're sure they signed it because there's a lot of people signing things, and there's not always signatures to refer to see if it's legit.
Right. So, like, I've got this Chris Claremont sign X-Men 94, and it's in yellow label CBCS. So I'll always have, like you said, you got rid of all your CBCSs and you have all CGCs now. I'll never have all CGC because I still got this one.
Yeah, and that's fine. I mean, it's not the best case in the world, but it's made up for by the fact that a company and professionals have certified that's his signature. So, yeah. I mean, I like CGC, and I have all CGC slabs, but I'm not opposed to having CBCS slabs in my collection. I will buy some Golden Age books that are CBCS at some point when they come up, and it's the right book at the right price. I just haven't lately. So, yeah. But, over time, I will crack them out and resubmit them to CGC. So, I just like CGC holders better.
Yeah, me too. For now, they're the best. So. All right, guys, let's wrap it up. We've got a lot more partying to get to. I think everybody's gonna have fun tonight. You guys getting into anything special?
I've got people coming over. You know what? I concentrated on my 7 kiddos, man. So they're having friends over, and they're gonna be playing a bunch of video games and minute to win it games and stuff like that. So it'll be a lot of fun over here.
You can pass out some of your the comics, some of those copper keys, let them flip through them. That'd be a fun adventure.
Use as napkins for pizza or something. Yeah,
right.
Pizza slice holders. Yeah, placemats.
Nightmare, man. That's a nightmare scenario.
Yeah, I'm not doing anything tonight. We're just gonna chill here and watch the ball drop on TV, probably, I guess.
Cool.
Oh yeah, that's cool. We're not really doing a whole lot. We're gonna probably have a few drinks and relax. I think my son had a new game. It's like a Deadpool game, but it's like it's kind of like a Cards Against Humanity's Deadpool version.
Cool. So
I don't really know how it works, but I guess he's gonna teach us. So that'll be fun. Anytime your kid teaches you a game, you're gonna lose because the rules get revised about every 10 minutes. Just when you start winning, the rules change. But
yep.
we'll
actually, my plans did change. We looks like Bad Dad's saying there's a Twilight Zone marathon on. So yeah, we'll probably watch that. That sounds good.
There you go. I like the one where Burgess Meredith is stuck inside the vault. That's probably my favorite.
Yeah, where there's an atomic war and he comes out and it's just him and all those books.
Yep.
And he steps on his glasses.
Yep. Oh, yeah. It's funny. I was just thinking this morning. So, like, I know we said we were getting off here, so this will be quick. So, like, we were talking about somebody was talking about collecting runs, and in the chat, and one of the reasons that I do collect some runs is because I wanted to have a lot of books to read when I retire, and I figured it'd be nice to have a bunch of runs to read through. And then I started thinking just a minute ago, like while we were in the chat, I was thinking, man, I need to take better care of my eyes. Like, what if I need to like make sure I wear like UV protected glasses all the time, and don't stare into the sun like I do most days. And, lay off the eclipses when they come around. I need to take better care of my eyes, or I won't be able to read all this.
Eat some carrots, man.
That's what I'm doing. Yeah, I'm eating carrots.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm a little older than you, and I have trouble reading the fine print in some of these comic books already. So that's what I have in store for you.
Man, the only reading you do are grader's notes.
No, I buy trades. We were talking before. For me, comic books are collectible works of art. The trades are how I read them, like especially some of these older books. I'll read through them once, but then I'll buy trades or reprints of stuff, and that's how I read comics. I don't read the comics I own. They're collectible pieces of art. So that's how I do it. But yeah, I sometimes have trouble reading the fine print in some of these books when I crack them open.
That scares me.
Especially the indicia. I got to get really down there, get a magnifying glass, and check it out on some of these books and make sure I can read the indicia properly. I'm telling you, you get old, that's what happens.
That's cool, man.
All right, guys, let's shut her down. Roger, if you're still listening or on the replay in 6 weeks when you get your Wi-Fi up and running, just hit us up. We'd love to have you back on sometime. No, we should be able to see him next week, and we'll be back at full strength. So thanks, Matt, for sticking around for the whole show. Thanks to Lindsay for stopping by, and then also thanks for Cannonball Comics, formerly known as Deadpool 2323, for also stopping by. Did I miss anybody? That's everybody. And of course, DS, thanks for stopping by. And
thanks for everybody in the chat for being here.
Absolutely. Thank you all for joining us tonight. Had a big one, had a good time. Happy New Year's, of course, to everyone around the world. And Matt, you don't have a sign off to your videos, do you?
I don't, man. So just Happy New Year to everybody, and join us at the hunt right now. We're going to get on about half an hour on that one.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah, go check that out. Pretty fun stuff. And DS, go ahead, give your sign off.
I don't remember what it is, but
let's do your homework.
Oh yeah, do your homework. Everybody do your homework.
All right, everybody. We'll see you next week in the No Faces Comic Chat. Read a comic book. Bye.
All right. See you later.
See you later. Happy New Year.